President Joe Biden has twice mistakenly referred to Ukraine as Iraq in the last 24 hours. The first instance occurred at a fundraiser in Maryland on Tuesday night when he spoke about the unity of NATO following the Russian invasion. The second happened on Wednesday morning during a conversation with reporters outside the White House. When asked about Russian President Vladimir Putin's position following recent events in Russia, Biden said Putin was clearly losing the war in Iraq. These slips come at a time when several polls indicate voter concerns about Biden's mental and physical health, and a belief among a majority of voters that he is too old to run for re-election. In other news, Biden has begun using a continuous positive airway pressure (CPAP) machine due to sleep apnea. The CPAP machine is a motorized medical device that prevents interruptions in breathing during sleep by pumping air through a tube to a mask worn on the user's nose. The use of the device was confirmed by Deputy Press Secretary Andrew Bates, who stated that Biden had disclosed his history with sleep apnea in medical reports since 2008. Sleep apnea, a potentially serious sleep disorder where breathing can stop and start during sleep, can lead to symptoms such as forgetfulness, fatigue, and sleepiness, and if left untreated, may result in cardiovascular disease. The risk of developing sleep apnea increases with age. Madonna has postponed her upcoming world tour due to a severe bacterial infection, according to her manager, Guy Orsiri. The 64-year-old pop star was admitted to the intensive care unit, ICU, on the 24th of June and is now recovering, with a full recovery expected. The tour, named The Celebration, was scheduled to start on the 15th of July in Vancouver, Canada, to mark the 40th anniversary of Madonna's career. The tour included performances in major cities across North America, including New York, Los Angeles, Miami, Las Vegas, and Chicago. Later, the tour was due to move to Europe, with 4 sold-out shows at London's O2 Arena starting from the 14th of October. Madonna's family reportedly feared they might lose her due to the severity of the infection. The singer is believed to have been found unconscious in New York before being taken to the hospital. The tour's postponement has been confirmed by American events promoter Live Nation. Madonna has previously cancelled tour dates due to health issues, including in 2019 when she suffered overwhelming pain. Federal judges in Kentucky and Tennessee have temporarily blocked laws that would ban gender transition care for minors. The rulings came just days before key provisions of the laws were due to come into effect, part of a wave of legislation targeting LGBTQ rights that has been passed by Republican-controlled legislatures across the U.S. this year. Judge David J. Hale of the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Kentucky temporarily blocked part of a Kentucky law that would ban the prescription and administration of puberty blockers and hormone therapy. This ruling allows health care options for transgender youth to remain available in the state while the litigation continues. Most of the bill took effect immediately when it became law this year, but some provisions were set to go into effect on Thursday. In the Kentucky case, the plaintiffs were 7 transgender minors and their parents. They argued that the bans on puberty blockers and hormones would have violated their rights and prevented parents from seeking medical care for their children. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron, a Republican, stated that the judge's decision tramples the right of lawmakers to set policy and vowed that his office would continue to fight to enact the law. Tennessee's law was also due to take effect on July 1. This law would have phased out medical treatments that were already underway and instituted penalties of $25,000 for providers who violated its rules. At least 20 states nationwide now have some level of ban on gender-affirming care. On the same day as the rulings in Kentucky and Tennessee, North Carolina lawmakers finalized a Republican-led bill that would prohibit certain gender-affirming care for minors and bar state funds from going toward the treatments. Democratic Governor Roy Cooper is expected to veto the measure, although the North Carolina State House has veto-proof Republican majorities. The U.S. Coast Guard has announced the discovery of presumed human remains near the wreck of the Titan submarine, which imploded during a voyage to the Titanic shipwreck earlier this month, killing all 5 men on board. The remains will be brought back to the U.S. for analysis as part of the ongoing international investigation into the disaster. The announcement was made as the first photos of the damaged submersible wreckage being recovered from the Atlantic Ocean were released. The images show crews unloading pieces of the submarine from the Horizon Arctic ship onto dry land at the Canadian Coast Guard Pier in St. John's, Newfoundland. The remains were found in the wreckage of the Titan sub, which imploded around 13,000 feet underwater close to the wreckage of the Titanic. The U.S. Coast Guard stated that U.S. medical professionals will conduct a formal analysis of the carefully recovered human remains. The 5 men who died on the deep-sea vessel were British adventurer Hamish Harding, father and son Shahzada and Suleiman Dawood, Ocean Gate Expeditions Chief Executive Stockton Rush, and French national Paul-Henri Nargeolet. Images of large pieces of debris from the Titan were also released after they were transported to shore in St. John's, eastern Canada. The photos show a crane unloading the wreckage from the Horizon Arctic ship in the city's harbor. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police are investigating the 5 deaths. Safety investigators from the Transportation Safety Board of Canada have also been making inquiries on the Titan's main support ship, the Polar Prince, after it docked in St. John's Harbor. The Titan submersible lost contact with tour operator Ocean Gate Expeditions 1 hour and 45 minutes into the 2-hour descent to the wreckage, and was reported missing 8 hours after communication was lost. Hacking group Sieged Sec, self-identified as Gay Furries, has expanded its campaign against 5 U.S. states due to their positions on transgender issues. The group recently claimed to have breached government websites in Nebraska, South Dakota, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Texas. Targets included the Nebraska Supreme Court intranet, the South Dakota Boards and Commissions, the Texas Behavioral Health Executive Council, Pennsylvania's Provider Self-Service website, and the South Carolina Criminal Justice Information Services. The group stated that it had retrieved health-related information from Texas and disrupted systems in Pennsylvania. It also claimed to have accessed over 15,000 childcare records but has no plans to publish them. The campaign appears to be a continuation of SIGAD-SEC's efforts against states it perceives as opposing gender-affirming care for transgender youth. However, cybersecurity expert Brett Callow advised caution, suggesting the group's motivations may not be as clear-cut as they claim. The Florida Department of Health and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control have issued statewide mosquito-borne illness alerts after 4 people in Sarasota, Florida, and 1 person in Texas fell ill with locally transmitted malaria. This marks the first instances of locally transmitted malaria in the U.S. since 2003. The 4 individuals in Sarasota, who contracted PVVAX malaria from mosquito bites, have all recovered. Malaria symptoms include headaches, nausea, vomiting, sweating, fever, and chills. The health department advises anyone experiencing these symptoms to seek medical help within 24 hours. To limit the risk of transmission, health departments in Sarasota and Manatee counties are working with local partners and county mosquito control to conduct aerial and ground spraying. The health department also urges residents across the state to take precautions while outdoors, such as using bug spray, avoiding mosquito-infested areas, and wearing long pants and shirts, especially at sunrise and evening when mosquitoes are most active. The state health department suggests a number of methods to prevent mosquito bites. These include draining standing water from various containers, discarding unused items that could collect water, maintaining swimming pools in good condition, and covering boats and vehicles with tarps that don't accumulate water. Covering skin is also recommended, including wearing shoes, socks, long pants, and long sleeves, especially for those working in mosquito-prone areas. Applying mosquito repellent to bare skin and clothing and using mosquito netting for children younger than 2 months old is also advised. The department also recommends covering doors and windows with screens to keep mosquitoes out of houses and repairing broken screening on windows, doors, porches, and patios. Effective repellents include those with DEET, picaridin, oil of lemon eucalyptus, para-menthane diol, 2-undecanoate, and IR3535.